everybody, welcome to episode 8 of That's a Wrap, What's Next? Today I've got I don't even know how to describe this amazing person, Demi Louise, singer, producer, actor.
Yeah.
And Demi is 5 years out of acting school. She's done some incredible work recently and in her past 5 years out. And we're so excited. We're going to chat about the business, her specific projects she's worked on, some upcoming music she might be releasing, and just a whole lot of other little bits and bobs. We'll see what happens on the way. So, Demi, how are you feeling?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming on. I'm so excited. Even I'm nervous for this one. I'm excited. Okay, I've got questions for you.
Okay, great. Let's get into it.
Also, don't forget to subscribe. That'd be awesome, and you'd be really cool if you did that. So thanks. Okay, so I know that pretty much everyone listening is going to be very intrigued by this entire topic of, first of all, you're a producer, and I think everyone always hears that word, but a lot of us still don't really know what it fully entails, like what your day-to-day looks like when you're producing something. And also in terms of yourself, and you spoke about your brand, what was the thing, the tagline?
For the love of storytelling.
Yeah. Is that what you call it, a tagline?
Yeah. An ethos.
An ethos, yeah, stuff like that. I think people are still, I don't think I've got something like that yet, but obviously it takes a while to kind of build and know what you'd like to put out into the world. But just having a personal brand, so you're kind of producing your own work, and give us a rundown, producing in Demi's life, and then I'll ask more specific questions as we go, but give us a little opening summary maybe.
Okay, great. So as a producer, you are the maker of something. And I think if you're in a creative industry and you reside in Australia or in Sydney and you identify as an artist, congratulations, you are a producer as well, because that's just the nature of our industry. There's not as many opportunities, and there is not such a devoted culture for the arts in Australia. I think we are very much a sports nation. So with that in mind, great, you now have to create something yourself. So my tagline, for the love of storytelling, came around because I am such an artist, such an actor, such a singer, and I love it so much. I'd do anything to get 5 minutes of creating. So if that means I have to do 6 months of paperwork so I can get on set for 3 days, I'd do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's that kind of commitment. You're probably very much the same with your development of the book Nooks, do you know?
Yeah.
Doing all of this preparation just so you can get on set for 3 to 5 days. It takes you months,
weeks, depends
to prepare for that. So hell yeah. And I think every artist kind of goes through that realization of, I actually have to do quite a bit of prep work. And I think it is the very nature of artists to kind of push back on anything slightly academic.
Yeah.
So we have a cognitive dissonance.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm liking this term.
About creating art and then also focusing on the business side. But I think if you love the art enough, you're going to sit your bum down and do the work.
Do some work, babes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and it can be really, really difficult. And I think a lot of people assume that I'm academically brained. Babes, I am not. Not at all. You should sit HSC English C, bye. I had a band 6 in music. I don't even know what I got in advanced English. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it does not come naturally to me. Potentially leadership comes a little bit more naturally to me, and I think that's where people get confused. But I get a lot of people saying, wow, you're so academic, you're so prepared. And it's like, well, yeah, because I want to get to set. I'm very motivated by that. So I'd do anything. But I'm not naturally that way, and I have to do business meetings every other month with Creative Plus Business, my film mentor Nick Bolton.
Yes, shout out Nick Bolton.
Love it. I'm so excited for my next session actually in June with Nick. But I have to do that. I have to sit through webinars. I have to sign up to workshops, and I'm on Zoom watching all the free webinars provided by Creative Plus Business, and if I don't do that or maybe I actually have an Instagram account where I only follow like funding bodies and grant bodies and Creative Plus Business on there too, and any kind of like institutional like helpful platform that provide assistance to artists. There is a lot of free assistance out there too.
Really is.
Like Creative Plus Business is government subsidized.
That's great.
So it means it's no cost to artists to attend those business sessions. There's also free webinars. Like every other day, there's a webinar on something, marketing, social media, like tax time for artists, blah, blah, blah. Like there's so much support out there. A lot of people don't know about it too.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you sit your bum down and you just listen to it and you just try a bit hard and you push through the dissonance, you could be you could create a lot of opportunity for yourself, and you don't have to rely on anybody to create it for you or to select you out of 1,000 people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can just go, oh, well, it's my project, so I'm doing it now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
There's no one way in the acting industry. So, yeah, pave your own path, babes. Pioneer it. Off you go.
Why not? Just a little fun on the side. Oh, God, that's hilarious. Okay, so what would you say, other than your music, what has been the most recent project you've produced, and could you take us through that process?
Ooh, I was just working on my portfolio on my website too. Okay. It's not my most recent project, but I was looking back at the creation of my very first short film outside of acting school, which was Emily and Voltaire, which was a cinematic opera piece.
Yeah.
And it actually wasn't on my website. I just hadn't gotten around to putting it on. And I had a look at it this week.
Yeah.
And I went, geez, that was really good, wasn't it?
I remember seeing it and thinking it was great. It was,
Yeah, because I guess like when you're in the process, I guess, grass is always greener kind of thing. And like you're very self-critical. You have high hopes and high dreams for something. And when it doesn't quite match up, you can be very hard on yourself. But I looked back on that and I was like, wow, was I like 21 when I did that? That's amazing. Like it turned out really well.
Yeah.
So
it did. It was
if you
really
want to
good.
have a look at Emily and Voltaire,
you can watch it.
head over to my website and there's some stills from it and a music video and everything.
Link in the description.
But that was an amazing process, and it got pushed back because of the lockdowns in COVID, because I was producing this in about 2020. And my partner Kalish was on board for all of the arranging and orchestrations. My singing teacher actually approached me to produce the piece as well for the score and libretto that he and his writing partner Cheryl had written. And the whole pitch was that it was going to be an opera that was, like enticing for young people to watch because it was about a woman. Yeah.
Nice.
A woman scientist of the 1800s.
I just want to watch it again now.
Yeah.
So they said to you, can you help us produce this? You were like, sure thing.
Yeah.
What happened next?
Absolutely dived right in. I went straight on like location scouting. I went around to all of the historical estates in Sydney and had a look at them all and took tours. There's not a lot out there of that like European chateau.
Yeah.
Available. And so I went out to actually just around here, Rouse Hill, and I looked at one estate and there were holes in the wall and it was falling apart, and I was like, this is not fit for a film crew at all. But I eventually found a location called Lindsay, and it just so happened that in Lindsay there were 3 rooms. There was a beautiful soft cream styled library, and there was a beautiful yellow drawing room and a red dining room. And because the story is based on a true story of Emily du Châtelet, who was a female scientist at the time, her house still exists now and it happens to look exactly like it. And I was like, score.
That's amazing.
Let's go.
Damn.
And we got some of the costuming. Our main supporter and I guess executive producer, you can say, was Opera Australia. And all of the costuming came from their wardrobes.
Wow. How did you get the connection with them? Or was it already there before you started?
We went and pitched to Opera Australia, and Lyndon Terracini, the artistic director at the time, gave us the funding to do it and said, off
Insane.
you go and do it. And we were like, yeah.
So what did it look like pitching that to them? Because that seems like Opera Australia is one of the biggest, I'd say, performing arts companies.
Yeah.
How did you just do it?
You book a meeting and that's not easy to get. But I drew up a pretty comprehensive sponsorship prospectus, which is kind of like in filmmaking language, like pitch deck kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And I basically like estimated the budget. We had descriptions from our librettist who wrote up, I guess like a log line, a little synopsis. She even had like all of the plot points of the film as well. And yeah, luckily he said yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
We also had some support from the Talent Development Project. Waterloo Studios also helped.
Nice.
We had a company on the Central Coast, Herbie Spices,
Yeah.
Opera Lovers, the owners. They also helped us out.
That's great.
And Film Sticks in the UK, which is like a clapperboard company based in London.
Wow. So how did you find those sorts of people? I'm sorry, I'm like really nitpicking this, like just so curious.
Jasmine, I'm a stalker. I did full background checks on everybody. Herbie Spices came from our librettist, though.
Okay.
I think they were friends.
Okay.
But with Film Sticks, stalking.
Because
on Instagram.
How'd you come across them in the first place? Because if they're in the UK, did they just pop up one day or did you?
Yeah, they had collaborated with a Melbourne-based filmmaker that I had been watching.
Okay.
And I went, great, I'll have one of those too. And I just emailed them and luckily, they said yes.
So
and
exciting.
Sent us a clapperboard, which was so beautiful of them.
Love
that. And Waterloo Studios was already invested in both myself and my co-producer Nick as well. Because I'm an alumni of the studios, Sydney Actor School, and he was a teacher as well. So it was kind of the perfect mix. It was everything that Waterloo Studios
wanted and
stands for.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Desires. Yeah.
Alumni collaboration. Yeah.
Great. And so then once you had costumes, location, found your performers and I
assembled a crew as well who I met at Sydney Film School. So it was pretty much like everything Waterloo should have dreamed of for, emerging graduates to be collaborating together. And I'm very grateful to every single person and every single crew member to this day who jumped on board to help me and created something really beautiful. Our DP did some amazing work.
The shots looked really nice.
It was really beautiful. And we had a great cast as well. They were all Opera Australia stars and
it's crazy.
They were really good. And funny that, it sounds like it was recorded in some, amazing studio, but I did it in my garage.
Really?
Yeah, how about that?
I didn't know that.
Studio.
Yeah, wow.
Or my studio, I guess, which is my garage.
Which is lovely.
But
great place to be, everyone.
But yeah, there was opera echoing down the street for that whole day we were recording. Yeah. But yeah, so you can just do it. And also you can do it at home. It doesn't have to be expensive. You can, and obviously filmmaking is an expensive endeavor, not only on the equipment hire, but locations and everything like that. And for this particular film, location was very important. So we couldn't negate on that. But yeah, just do it. Do it yourself. Do it at home.
Done.
But
Done.
It was
inspired.
Literally, we it was on my microphone that I bought in year 10 to record YouTube videos on. That's what we've recorded it on. Wow. And it sounds fan-bloody-tastic.
Yeah, I never would have second-guessed that at all. Wow. Make sure you check that out. So you kind of touched on what it's like having to be an artist in Sydney and you have to make your own stuff if you want to be doing things. How was your kind of journey from, when did you sort of discover that for yourself and what sort of steps did you take to start realizing that you have to be your own business and you've got to be the person to do it?
Okay, well, when I was studying, we had a unit with Creative Plus Business. And that's when I kind of sat back and went, oh yeah, it's a bit shit's about to get real.
I remember having the same.
Yeah.
We had a week of that and all of us were just mind blown and having existential crises.
I I was always like, you know, in the holiday periods at acting school, I'd go in, I'd hire the equipment, I'd film something, you know. So I was very much, I had already established myself as a maker just because I really liked it, and the whole camera stuff and the mathematics of camera work did not come naturally to me. So I had to really try. Again, I had to try very hard to kind of understand that. I had 3 pages of cinematography notes of like how to set up the black magic and stuff like that, you know. So I had to work very hard, and I think it just kind of hits you like a ton of bricks. But luckily we had 4 free sessions from Creative Plus Business after our school created that unit. And I went, I'm going to need all the help I can get. So I took them on, and now it's fully government subsidized. So it's all free now, and I still do them. I'm only really having that realization quite recently, probably more recently than you think.
Really? Because it seems like you've known it for the whole time I've known you, to be honest.
I've definitely known it, but I have changed my tune.
Okay. Let's hear more about that.
I originally thought if I do all of this work for other people, then one day someone will ask me to do something really amazing and really great. And it was only recently, and I sent you a voice memo on this. I apply for grants all the time, and yes, I get rejected from grants all the time. I've won like 2 or 3 grants now. And
you've been granted some grants. That's terrible.
I've been granted a grant before. I have a great portfolio. Sometimes I freak myself out and I go, hang on, Demi, like it's okay. Like you produced, your short film was amazing and you produced it with Opera Australia. Like chill the fuck out. And like you've been overseas, like chill the fuck out. I recently received feedback on a grant, and the one main feedback was that I should have put up original source material and demo samples of work. And when they said that to me, it was over the phone. And when they said that to me, I was immediately like, well, that's really disappointing because all 3 samples of work were original works that I had worked on. It was all my own lyric writing and, you know, production, and I recorded them myself. I facilitated this, I produced that, blah, blah, blah. But because it was in collaboration with others and not an original work to my name, for that grant, it didn't count. And that was kind of a big wake-up call for me, and something I had been suspecting for a while now, that if it wasn't a sole project, that you can't really take all of the glory for it. And in the eyes of grants and funding bodies, I didn't realize how important that was. I kind of left acting school with the I guess the assumption that collaboration was everything, you know, and that,
which I think you need to collaborate to make good stuff, but
totally. Yeah. But you also need to do your own thing too. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I've done a lot of collaborating. I've worked beneath a lot. I've got a lot of credits, especially in filmmaking. But yes, you also need to have your own thing. That's what birthed the release of my music this year as well.
Yeah, nice. But yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, like you want to get on set as much as possible and have as much involvement as you can, but don't put yourself second, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. Totally.
I feel like it's easier said than done though, because it's hard. It takes so much time to make your own thing. Yeah. And you want as many credits and many jobs as you can get, you know.
Oh, they never said this industry would be easy.
No. Never.
But like, that's the real talk, is that if you work as a producer on something, I mean, there are 11 different kinds of a producer.
What?
Do you know what I mean?
Never heard that.
A line producer, executive, blah, blah, blah.
There's 11?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. There's like 11 creditable producer roles.
Wow.
And it depends what kind of producer you are. If you're like pioneering, my opinion of a producer is that you are like the one pioneering the work. You are setting the green light on production. You're putting like the red stop sign out if there are any issues. producers in that sense, or that kind of producer, should also have an input on the writing and the voice of the story as well. But that's not the case for a line producer, for example.
Yeah.
They're just making sure that set is happening and being created so that the makers of the film can get on the set. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like more logistic-based producing, but you can also produce and pioneer a project. See what I mean? So yes, I didn't realize how important that differentiation was. And I suppose if I could go back on like the 5 years I've been out of acting school, that's so weird. Because acting school has been like my whole life.
I know, right?
Like up until this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, I graduated like 2 months ago. But
No,
in the 5 years that I've been out, I wouldn't change anything I did. I just wished I had had something like what you're doing now with this podcast. This is yours, babes. You know what I mean? I'm just
guys.
a guest on it.
Like and subscribe.
You know,
Yeah.
like, but it's your name. It's your credit, and you're producing it. You're making it happen. You're pioneering it. You get to control the voice of the project. You are producing this. Do you know what I mean?
There you go, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've produced films, and I've also worked in production on films. Do you see what I mean?
Can you list a few more of what you've done?
Yeah. So I've been like a creator and videographer for a while. I've done lots of social media work. I was a production secretary on a short proof of concept called The Resurgence. A great proof of concept, actually. It's about like a debating team who were in Parramatta Jail based on a real story.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was awesome. And the producers for that were Major Chord Productions based in LA. And I got brought on because, again, Jasmine, I'm a stalker. I went and found mentors to mentor me and to say thank you. I worked on their films.
Wow.
And like for free, because they came out for coffee with me. They looked over my thing. You know what I mean? I was very grateful for that. And so when the director and writer of that piece, Luke McKenzie, asked me to jump on board, I was like, hell yeah. And that was really cool as well. And I got to work with very high caliber filmmakers on that one. That was awesome. Yeah. I work a lot with the Talent Development Project as well. And I've worked a lot with Peter Cousins as well, who got me on to record. It's a theatrical event every year, but in the COVID year, they put it on film. And that was called Victoriana, and it's essentially all like Victorian era, like music. It's like musical theatre.
That's so fun.
And it was all designed, and I got to be on camera for that one, and I was kind of first ADing on set. You know what I mean? Like you're just swinging around all of the roles. So yeah, that one was really cool as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, but there's been some good ones.
I feel like you've really started to find a niche already of
it's musical theatre on film, babes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well,
specifically period pieces.
I love period pieces so much. I just want to be Lady Violet on Bridgerton. That's my dream. Don't you think I look like her? I look like her.
Wait, I'm forgetting which one.
I look like Lady Violet on Bridgerton.
Which one is? Why I literally
garden is in bloom. Do you know that scene from Queen Charlotte? Oh no, season 2 Bridgerton. Yes.
Wait.
The mum.
Show me.
Yes.
Why do I not know? I've seen. I love Bridget.
So
anyway, apparently not. Her. That's what I mean. I said this last episode that I'm terrible with the names and stuff. I don't know what it is.
I want to be Lady Violet on Bridgerton. That's not her. Hang on. I always get typecast as mother characters.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, this absolute legend of a human character being. No, I love.
Don't you think I look like her?
Wait, look at me. Wait, no, other side profile. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God.
I know. I'm going to be a young Lady Violet.
If you're on camera, look at that. I see it. I so see that.
That's me. I could be her.
Yep. Casted.
I think I could be her.
100%. That would be lovely. Oh my God.
Or I guess I want to be her, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so love a period drama, honestly. And I think Australia does them really well as well. Like my favourite TV series that came out was like Love Child, set in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah,
Beautiful stories. So yeah, and I love all the heritage and everything like that. So yeah, I'm just obsessed with like my grandparents' Polaroid photos and stuff. Yeah, love it. So yeah, I like period dramas. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there's something about it. I just love it. It's just a different, like it's still humans, but it just feels like a different world. Well, it was. It was.
Yeah, and like Bridgerton showed us that it can be so sexy too.
Yeah. 100%.
It can be so spicy. Yeah, like Lady Violet saying like, my garden is in bloom. So.
Oh, it's so good. You know, have you ever had that thing, I don't know, it was like a trend of conversation where you either have, I forgot what it was, you either have a period piece face or what?
iPhone face.
iPhone face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
I
do
don't
you
know.
I think
I guess
have
if you
a
look like
period.
her, yeah.
I think I've been told that. I was told that when I first auditioned at AIM, which is like the Australian Institute of Music. I did musical theatre there a few years ago, and when I was at my audition, these girls came up to me and were like, "You look exactly like this character from Love Child." Actually, it was, and I was like, "Oh, what? Okay,
Take it."
So.
Yeah.
And then ever since then, I'm like, I have a big drama face. I don't have an iPhone. I don't know what an iPhone looks like.
Yeah. I don't really know personally. I hope that I can do anything. So I'm not gonna like label myself. I just wanna. Yeah. I'll be in
put her in a box.
Yeah, I'll be in any piece you want.
Yeah.
No matter what the period. You said there's nothing you would really have changed in your 5 years so far, but obviously you've learnt as you've gone. Is there any like really obvious red flags, kind of things people should look out for when you're making your own work, and how to, take care of yourself the best you can?
Yes. I would say whenever I'm so enthusiastic about this industry, so when someone asks me to do something, I'm like, yes, of course. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's an acting school thing
100%
as well.
Yes,
like, do you want to do rehearsal? Yes, of course. When? Till like, a 14-hour rehearsal? Yeah, of course. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But to any like budding producer out there, or I guess to like emerging graduates like you, just have a think before you take a project on, and especially look at the track history of those you would be collaborating with as well. There are a lot of artists like that out there. Like I mentioned before, with that cognitive dissonance, there are a lot of artists out there who their immediate instinct would be to go, I'm not going to do any grants. We're just going to like hard slog it and like just go for it kind of thing. And that's all well and good if you have all of the equipment and all of the tools and skills necessary to take those steps. But if you don't, that's going to be very difficult to achieve, to make, especially in filmmaking itself. If you don't have access to a camera, or if you don't have access to sound equipment, or if you aren't savvy enough to beg, borrow and steal those things, that's going to be a very difficult production to get off the ground. Yeah. And so you might actually waste time on it. And I think for all of those graduates, especially those coming out of Sydney Actor School, where you are trained in filmmaking as well, which is such a good skill to have.
Amazing.
Hopefully you can bypass that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And you can kind of move straight into guerrilla filmmaking for yourselves and use your ensemble well. Like just as your cohort has. Yeah. Like you going, oh, my uncle's got a black magic and he said we can use it. Tick, babes. Green light is set on production.
Done.
Do you know what I mean? You got a camera.
Got to send that back today, actually.
Doing a crowd fund and getting the microphones and all of the sound equipment that you needed. That's a huge thing. But if you're working with people who refuse to take on the producer role, despite it, if it's your pearl, if it's your thing, if it's your piece of writing, you are a producer now. Do you know what I mean? And I think
unless you have a very good friend producer that's very eager to assist, I'd say. But
exactly,
even then, you still want to have your own say in everything.
Well, you got to put the sweat equity in. Do you know what I mean? Especially when it's on such grassroots level, you know. So I think, I have a lot of respect for you for doing all of that stuff. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't be able to do it without everyone else. So it's good. It's good we've got a little group going.
Yeah. So that's kind of a red flag if someone's like, we're not going to do grant funding, crowdfunding, we're just going to do it ourselves, and no one owns a camera or like a piece of equipment or, has a connection here or there, you know what I mean? Then it's like, oh, maybe you should rethink that. And and maybe like apply for like a quick response grant or like just or like put a little crowd fund out there, try and raise some money so that you can feed yourselves on set or something. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Just think about it a little harder. Put the sweat equity in. Because if it's your piece of writing or your directorial piece, or maybe you are doing producing, writing and directing and acting, and maybe you are doing all of those things, putting in the sweat equity, then you'll take all the glory for it. So it's important to
make sure it's good quality and
to focus on quality, but also like taking care of your crew and your collaborators too. Because if they're putting in a lot of sweat equity, they need the glory as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my only that's a big red flag for me now. If someone says I'm not going to even attempt a crowdfund or a grant, or then I'm like, this doesn't sound that serious to me.
Yeah, right. That makes sense.
This sounds flaky. This sounds like it might waste my time.
Yeah, right.
That is the T.
That's really good to hear, because I think there's so much ability to make things, and there's no harm in doing like a little iPhone short film or whatever, but I guess it's good to know what the level you should be like trying to aim for in projects. Yeah.
For someone like you who has like filmmaking, I guess like you've undertaken a course that specializes in media. You don't need to be doing that. You know what I mean? Like you can aim high. You can pick up a black magic. You don't need to do.
I don't know if I can, but if someone can, someone I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Someone in your class knows how to do it.
Yeah.
And you've done it before. You have done it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you did it in class,
Yeah.
Potentially it's not the best, but babe, same. My first like black magic would have been shit house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now I'm on camera all the time, so there's just little things. Yeah. You don't need to be doing the hard slog. You can sit back and approach this industry with a bit more like grace, and be a little bit picky about what you take on. You don't have to be a yes man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I would say to myself.
I love that.
Looking back.
Yeah. Because I already find there's a lot of little projects, and especially like just helping film students practice with their equipment and like stuff like that. I feel like you just have to know when you've done enough of that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally. But you're a baby, Jasmine.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a literal fetus in this industry too. So like that puts things in perspective.
Yeah.
But when you're in your
I'm
first
not even
year
a fetus.
out,
I'm just like
she's an embryo.
Yeah.
But like but yeah, it's important to do all of that, and you discover who the good ones are, and you discover the ones you want to work with again.
Yeah.
And also the ones you don't, and that's also important.
Damn
too.
right.
So
yeah.
you obviously you have to do that, though I definitely reached that in the first year, and like I look back on the quality of my first film, Emily and Voltaire, and I'm like, wow, I could have maintained that level and said no to XYZ projects.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But I didn't, and like
knowing your worth, basically.
Yes, I wish I knew that a little bit earlier for me. Yeah, that's the only thing. Yeah.
Well, now more to like your own brand and your own. So you've got your website, you've got your tagline, you've got your music coming out. Like, how did you discover your brand? Is my question, I guess. How did that? Obviously, you've done a lot of the business mentoring. I feel like that would have been a big help. Yeah, just take us on that little path, because I think a lot of actors, their brand, or musicians even, it's just kind of your website profile and whatever your CV looks like. But I think you can do more than that. And you look, when I look at your stuff, it just looks so professional, it looks so established, and I think everyone can get to that place. But I think a lot of people don't really know how, or don't really know that it's worth doing. That makes sense?
Thank you for that as well. I really appreciate that, because I have tried very hard. I listen to podcasts all the time in the car. I'm like driving going, what do I do? Like,
help me.
I've got a whole CRM now as well.
Yes,
I've got a
CRMs.
client onboarding system and everything like that.
I have one because my dad, like, that's his life. But I need to use it. It scares me. It's just so there's a lot going on there. But
and I think what artists do, especially like, okay, so to get a website, maybe it costs you like $200-$300 a year or something like that, and then you have to make the website look good. Yeah. So like it's $300 just to get a website, and maybe $20 to get a domain. But then you've got to make it look good. So I went and got my branding done. I got a graphic designer to to give me a brand suite, icons and logos and everything like that. And that was well worth the money.
That's good. And how did you know that all of that was worth it? Because you hear mixed opinions, especially for actors, I think, of like, oh, it's worth making a website, or no, don't do it. You've just got your show cast and casting networks, that's enough, and a YouTube page and you'll be sweet. But then, you know, there's a lot of people now that are doing a mix of things, like if you're doing music as well. And like, how do you know when it's time to put that money in? You know,
Well,
or do you just do it and you don't know?
Are you a producer?
I guess, yeah.
Or are you an actor? Do you know what I mean?
I see, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
See.
And do you remember when I said before, if you're an actor in Sydney, congratulations, you're now a producer. So does that answer your question? I believe.
Sort of does.
I believe, unless you exited acting school and got straight to a Netflix show and off you go, babe. See ya. See ya. Have fun in LA.
Yeah.
Unless you've done that, then you're going to be making your own work. And within that, if you've gone to Sydney Actor School and maybe you're a videographer now, hello.
Hey guys.
And a filmmaker now, then maybe you have some kind of offering that you can make money on to sustain your acting career. And that's what I'm essentially trying to do. I would love to be a leader in this industry too. Acting and singing and dancing. I'm doing ballroom dancing at the moment, ballroom and Latin. I love it. But it's kind of an assumed thing for me that will always be going on. I will always be at the keyboard singing a song, and I will always be trying to, or like bucking up the courage to get into a dance class and do a dance and have an act and la, la, la.
Yeah.
But then you need money to live in the world. How are you going to do that? Okay, well, teaching is one of my income streams, which is great because it means you also have to, you know, act on your craft.
So good.
Or like work on your craft, sorry. And then I have this other offering, which is acting show reels, which is, again, like for me, it's I guess there's this thing called like unicorns and workhorses, where a workhorse, mine are all beautiful, but I guess you could have a real grungy workhorse. Like, for example, you know, no shame at all, but like potentially working in a restaurant is definitely
pleasant.
a workhorse. You know what I mean? Like it's, you know, it's not directly related to your craft. Sure, if you're working at that restaurant, maybe you go, okay, I'm going to use this to like people watch, and I'm, you know, maybe I'll make a character of this, like they teach you in acting school. You know what I mean? But then there are other workhorses where maybe you get to do scene analysis with 2 actors and shoot a little short film, and that's pretty cool. So one thing that I think is really important is if you are that actor who has, you know, maybe you booked a TVC 2 months out of acting school or something like that, and you have real prospects and there's a lot of buzz going around your career, then by all means, like sign up to Showcast, spend the money on casting networks or whatever, and have your portfolio website. But otherwise, having a portfolio website is pretty useless, to be honest. Sorry, that's the real talk. It's pretty useless unless you have a really desirable offering to work with you. Otherwise, just leave it to Showcast and casting networks. Let that be your website. They're expensive enough.
It's true.
Do you know what I mean? You don't need the extra $200
for your own. Yeah.
Unless you go, you can work with me via X, Y, and Z, or you know, I produce indie films for X, Y, and Z amount of money, or you know what I mean? Or I do headshot photography for X, Y, and Z, or like whatever your kind of offering is. Or I do social media videos, I do presenting, I do voiceover work, blah, blah, blah. Whatever that like key core offering is, then have the website, go get the branding done, put a logo on it, and make that your business. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But if you are just doing short films and acting, then you don't need much more than a CV. But the reality is, for a lot of actors, that's not the reality for a lot of actors. Yeah. So you need to support yourself in other ways.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's related to the industry. Do you know what I mean? So for mine, for the love of storytelling, well, I kind of identify as the 3 disciplines, so the singing, producing and acting. So that's kind of the direction I went in. It was just storytelling brings all of those 3 skills together. Do you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. Love that.
Oh, yay.
Hi everyone, just here editing this episode, and Demi had so many great things to say that I've decided to put her episode in 2 parts. So make sure you subscribe so you know when part 2 comes out. It'll be next week, and she's going to tell us some very exciting news about her music coming out very soon. And thank you so much for being here for part 1. Hope you guys enjoyed.